Hey, I'm Alex, and this is my recipe for strawberry cheesecake cake roll. So I made this recipe video at a time where cake rolls were kind of trendy. They were like the in thing to do. And I just wanted to play around with the flavors and create something that was delicious, but also new and interesting. So the process looks a little bit tricky when making a cake roll because there are a few components that you have to nail, but it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. So this cake batter calls for a lot of eggs. It's kind of like a sponge cake. Now you want to make sure you're beating your eggs before you go on to adding any other ingredients because we're going to incorporate some air into these eggs and it'll make for a fluffier cake. Then all the rest is pretty simple. You'll just dump in the rest of the ingredients and switch to a folding method just to make sure we're not over beating our cake batter. Also, just keep an eye when you're baking this cake because it's so much thinner, it cooks really fast. So be careful not to burn your cake. So now we get to some of the more important steps. Once your cake is baked, you need to lay a clean dish towel on your surface, sprinkle that with powdered sugar, and then right when you take it out of the oven, you're gonna flip your cake over onto that towel and quickly roll it up while the cake is still hot. Because this will ensure, once you cool it in that form, that it will keep its roll shape without cracking. A very important step. So work quickly while it's still hot. Don't burn yourselves. You probably won't, it's fine, but yeah. The powdered sugar is there to make sure your cake doesn't stick to your towel, so don't skip that part either. And don't use flour, because that's gross. So now your cake is cooling in its dish towel. I went on to make the filling, which is a simple kind of cheesecake frosting. It's one of my all-time favorites, so can't go wrong. So when you bring your cake back from the fridge, you're gonna unroll it, and it will still have like I don't know, go up, because it's like molded to the roundness. Oh man. So then you're just gonna lather all that cheesecake frosting onto the surface of the cake. You're gonna sprinkle on some strawberries, and then it should be pretty easy from here on out. You just roll the cake back up into its final form. This is like a shapeshifter, shapeshifter cake. I sprinkled my cake with some more powdered sugar just to make sure the outside looked nice. And you can also decorate it with some more like strawberries or maybe some whipped cream. Also, another important step for this cake, if you're gonna be serving it to people or you want it to look really beautiful, is to chop off the ends. Now, I know it might seem wasteful, but you're really gonna get the best visual of that swirl when you chop off the extra bits on the end. But you also get that tasty visual. You can just eat them as a snack too. I did. I don't know why I always do this. All of a sudden, it's like my signature.